was born and raised in Spain to British parents, and they exposed me to a wide variety of films from a very early age. Uh, all types of films, really, films by Scorsese, by John Sturges, David Lean, Jonathan Glazer. So film was an important part of my life since I was very young, but I never considered it as a career path. I was never one of those kids that was into cameras or was running around with his friends making short films. It was just a hobby for me. I was a film buff, and that was it. It wasn't until I was a bit older, maybe 19, 20, that I really became obsessed with films and started to kind of discover what the director's process was and what his job exactly was on a film set, that I kind of fell in love with it even more, and decided it could be maybe a career path that I would like to pursue. So I moved to Scotland and enrolled at the University of the West of Scotland, where I'm currently entering my final year of a BA in filmmaking and screenwriting. So yeah, that was the first step towards maybe trying to be a director. But yeah, as I said, no idea how to operate a camera, no idea about editing or anything. So my first 2 years at UWS were really all about learning the basics. So I was a runner, was a production designer, was an assistant director, just a bit of everything. And then finally, this year, I wrote and directed my first film, which is Stain, the film we're talking about today. That's a difficult question. I'm always a bit wary about answering questions about the meaning of my film and what's it really about, because I think one of the most beautiful things about filmmaking and cinema in general is that it's so subjective to each and everyone's point of view and their perspective and what they feel when they watch the film. But I guess if I had to describe what Stain's about for me, it's about the psychological journey that the main character, the janitor, goes through, played by Gleb Daniels, and how the mundanity and boringness of his day-to-day life kind of feed into his self-obsession, and how it leads down this slow path that eventually leads to him completely losing his mind. The idea for Stain really comes from, I think, a personal place. Before I enrolled in film school, I worked in a hotel for a few years, and I used to do the night shift a lot, which was great on one part because I could watch films all night. But on the other side, once you've done 5 or 6 night shifts in a row, your mind really starts to play tricks on you, and you start to see things and hear things that aren't there. So that was really, I think, with a where the idea for Stain came from, and it just kind of evolved from there a bit. So from a personal experience, which I think is always important to try and put something personal in your films. The people that haven't seen the film, it takes place in one location in the university campus, my university campus, the UWS campus in there, and that was really integral to the story from the start. I think the story kind of came after I'd found the location, because my first 2 years at UWS, obviously my ambition was to write and direct. That's all I wanted to do. But whenever I had an idea I was excited about, it was either way too ambitious, or I couldn't find a suitable location, or it just wasn't realistic on a student budget. So last summer, I really set myself the task to write something that I knew I could direct, and also that would have access to filming locations, and it would make the whole process easier. So once I thought about filming in my university campus, the story kind of came from there, and we kind of reverse engineered it a bit, and the story kind of evolved based on the location. So once we had the first draft, me and the crew explored the whole university and kind of looked for the most interesting areas where we could film, where the major beats of the story could take part in, and then the story kind of moved on from there. It was incredibly helpful also in the pre-production phase of the project, because we just had this unlimited access to go in there, test out shots, test out lenses, test out rigs, which meant by the time we reached principal photography, we just had a game plan, and we knew exactly what we wanted and what lens to use, and it just sped up the whole process so much. And it also allowed us a lot of freedom once we got the shots that we wanted to get, to experiment with shots that my DOP William had, or I had, or just try different things, or try things differently, or allow an extended period of time for the actor to try things. So it was really helpful. And also, after we wrapped principal photography, we made a rough cut of the film, and we saw some shots that we weren't pleased with, and we saw there was maybe some inserts and transition shots that we were missing. So having that incredibly free access of the location of the campus meant that we could go back in for some additional pickup days, and just got those pickup shots, which is something that we probably wouldn't have been able to do if we had a limited time in any other location. So yeah, it was a really rewarding experience, and hopefully I have that much access in my next project too. So two very different relationships. In the case of Gleb Daniels, it couldn't be closer. He was my flatmate for 3.5 years when I moved to Scotland. He studied performance and acting at my university also. So it was just incredibly easy to work with him because I just know him so well and I've known him for so long that I just feel really comfortable around him, and also I kind of wrote the character with him in mind. He was the only actor that I really considered for it, so it meant that I could put in a lot of the mannerisms he has innately into the film and into the character. Also, it was a very rewarding experience to kind of create the character with him because we spent so much time watching films together that it was just kind of an extension of that, a film that we rewatched a lot of times because I thought an incredibly big influence on the film in general, on the atmosphere of the film and what it was trying to portray, but also because of the main actor's performance was a Razorhead. Because I think Jack Nance's performance as Henry is incredible in that, and it was something that me and Gleb rewatched a lot of times and looked at his mannerisms and how he's very stiff, but at the same time he's very nervous, and that nervousness grows as the film advances. So that was a big influence for the film, and yeah, it was just so easy to work with him and so easy for me to kind of point out things that I liked and point out things that I didn't like, and he just understood it instantly and understood what I was trying to do, and I think he did an incredible job. So it was a really good experience. As for Brona, I didn't know her personally, but she'd acted in a short film of a friend of mine did last year. She was the main actress in that, and she was incredible in that. I thought she put in a really good performance. So we were kind of struggling to find an older actress to portray the mum, and then we thought she would be a perfect fit. I was a bit worried at the beginning if she would be interested in being in it because it's a bit more of an abstract film that she's used to doing. But she was incredibly enthusiastic from the start. She jumped on board straight away, and she had loads of questions about the script and about the character, which for me as a director is an incredibly good sign. And it was great to work with her. It was kind of disappointing we couldn't have her in the film more because she was only in for a few seconds, but yeah, I think she knocked out the part, and she was great to work with too. That's a very tricky one. I think my dream has always been to shoot something here in Spain. I'm a big fan of 70s music and 70s pop culture in general. So maybe if I could shoot something back here in Spain, shoot it in film, and have unlimited access to all the music and aesthetic that I love, that would be a dream project for me. To just be able to write scenes with the songs that I love in mind and with a 70s aesthetic and shoot it in film would be amazing. Yeah. Well, I think that really depends on the scale of the production, really. But for me, as a student filmmaker, really, I think it really boils down to spending that extended period of time during pre-production, testing out shots, testing out stuff. So by the time you get to the brunt of shooting the film, you know exactly what you want as director. And also, I think having a very dedicated AD is very important. It was very important for me, at least. Greg, my AD, he was incredible in keeping us on time and judging how long a scene would take to shoot, and just speeding along the production and making sure everything's kind of flowing in the right direction and we're not getting caught up on unnecessary things. So I think, yeah, just to experiment and test out stuff as much as you can, as much as the location allows you during pre-production, and then having a very dedicated AD that is there to keep you on track is also very important for me. For me, the hardest part was definitely the edit. The edit was very tedious because I think it's not a conventional film how it's edited. There's a lot of small inserts and a lot of flashing images that come in at different parts and cross editing, and also the fact that the film has got no dialogue made it really important for us to create a rhythm, and that takes time. That takes an extended period of time of us just testing out stuff, putting an insert here, putting an insert there. It was made much easier, that process, once we got the music in, we got the sound design in. But it was definitely a very tedious project compared to shooting, which was incredibly fun and pretty straightforward. So yeah, I would say the edit was took a lot out of us, but yeah, I couldn't be happy with the final product. So that's the main thing. As I said before, I'm currently entering my final year at UWS, my final year in my BA in filmmaking and screenwriting, and I've got two ideas for this year. The main idea I have, which I'm currently in the process of writing, is a film called Nymph, which is set during the Spanish Civil War, and I'm going to shoot it in exterior locations in Scotland, in a forest in Scotland, and it's going to be shot in black and white. That's all I can tell you for the moment. And then I've got another idea. I would like to make maybe a film influenced by the giallo films of Italy of the 1970s. Make a horror film in that kind of vein, very stylized. But yeah, hopefully I can share these films or these ideas with you soon. And yeah, it's been great to talk to you. Thank you very much.